I was not a woo person at all. I used to like roll my eyes at people with crystals and astrology, like everything in the woo. I was scoffed at, and maybe done yoga 7 times ever, and it's because a friend dragged me to do it. Like, I mean, seriously, like I'm as much an outsider in the woo space as anyone, but logic is what brought me to the woo.
If you've been thinking about doing a podcast, good news. I am offering my $597 course to you for free. All you have to do is go to Apple Podcasts, give a 5-star rating, and write a review. Take a picture of it and send it via email to Coach Laurie, LAURIE.com. And I will give you access to the course for free. That's how passionate I am about getting busy businesswomen to do a podcast and leave their legacy.
Has your life, your dreams been interrupted? Good news. It is possible to reinvent our lives. People are doing it every day, and some are brave enough to share the struggles, disappointments, and challenges. If you are looking for a new beginning, a do-over, or to rediscover your passion, maybe even find a new one, then grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Interrupted, Act 2, Reinventing Your Legacy, with your host, Coach Laurie.
Meet your manifesting mentor. Morgan says she's a Barbie-loving real estate investor, multipreneur, manifesting mentor, and your sparkly guide back to alignment. She went from broke, burnout, and so lost to living her dream life, including a $1 million real estate portfolio and the freedom to focus on what she loves, helping you manifest with soul and ease. She blends science with spirituality, realness with fun, and she's even unlocked her own intuitive gifts along the way. Her mission is to help ambitious entrepreneurs stop spinning their wheels and start magnetizing success with a mix of strategy, spirituality, mindset, and a bit of magic. Morgan Manifests, welcome.
Hi.
So glad to have you here. You are the founder of Morgan Manifests. And why don't you start with telling us what you do and what you love about it? Because there's so much more than this behind you. You work in real estate, you work with people, you're kind of a coach, a mentor. So tell us a little bit about what you do and what you absolutely love about it. Because I can tell by your face how much you love what you do.
Well, I specifically focus on empowering women who are entrepreneurs, women in business who really are starting to plateau, stagnate, and get lost, get in that like self-doubt space, work through some of the mindset stuff that comes up when you are entering into entrepreneurship, because it is not for the faint of heart, and also like really align with your truth and your purpose as you're building your business, as you're working through some of the limitations that come up. I offer both the business strategy from my background in business paired with some manifesting techniques, which are part spiritual woo-woo and part really like subconscious reprogramming, like working with your mind and doing the work that it takes to unblock whatever it is inside of you that's preventing you from having what you want.
Do you work with people like one-on-one? Do you do groups?
So I have 3 different kind of approaches. One is I do like day or long weekend retreats. So I don't necessarily want to be the only expert in the room. Like I will strategically bring on other people that I feel like are going to add value and give the people who participate like a full holistic experience. So there's different themes based on whatever it is, but most of it is applicable to women in business. The second offering, I do a group program. I was just hopped off this call. It's called the Magnetism and Money Masterclass, and it's a 3-month container, and we take a group through all the things related to money and unblocking and manifesting and co-creating with a higher power to really create the reality you want. And that container has been so beautiful. I've done a few rounds and the impacts that it's had on women, I mean, truly life-changing. That is one that I will continue to offer until the end of time. And then the third thing is just one-on-one mentoring, where I balance that business strategy with the mindset and manifesting stuff.
I love that. And I notice I work with a lot of older women like myself. Many of us had no training, and it's probably true for a lot of women financially and even mindset financially. So now we become entrepreneurs. And this is what I hear. I teach podcasting, and women will come in the class and they'll say, "Well, I'm not trying to make money." I'm like, "Yes, you are. That's what this is all about. Don't say that." "Oh, I just want my message to matter." It does matter, and money matters.
Oh my gosh. Firstly, I also work with women in the same demographic as you, and I think that it's worth noting that once you're in your late 40s, early 60s, you start to get this awareness that like whatever I've been doing up until now is not aligned. I don't have as much time left as I'd like to think, and it's time to do things differently and better. For some reason that era for women, it's like that's when it starts to click. In the conversation I just had, it's like we don't feel worthy is a huge thing. And that's hard to pinpoint. You don't wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I don't feel worthy of anything. I'm going to go back to bed. It manifests in different ways in your life. And a lot of times people don't feel safe to receive. Like my programming, there was always strings attached whenever I got gifts. And so I had to be independent and provide for myself to my own detriment because I wouldn't allow myself to receive help or gifts or anything. And I'm blocking so many blessings. And I know a lot of women can resonate with this, but I'm blocking so many blessings in my own life because things want to come through. Part of leveling up is allowing yourself to receive more and better. And if you're closed off from that, you're not going to get it. And you miss the magic of collaborating and opening up just to like have something better than whatever you could even imagine come through. But regarding the money mindset blocks, the things that hold us back, there's a lot of that modesty that's kind of taught, especially to women. Like it's immodest to talk about money. It's immodest to own your wins and celebrate the badass stuff that you do and to help others. And regarding the people in wellness who say, oh, it's not about the money, those are my favorite people. Oh my gosh, I love working with them because if you want to strip back the layers of why you're called to do something, it is connected to your purpose. If you have this longing, this calling to serve others, you are honoring your purpose. And your purpose is not to not make money and be small. Your purpose is to expand. And by charging people money, you're asking them to expand and invest in themselves. And it's a reciprocal thing. And oftentimes it's so interesting watching people like have this breakthrough where they realize, oh, I've been really setting the bar low. And they'll play this game where they're like, okay, I'm going to start just pushing the limits. Like, how can I start to receive more? Whether it's setting your prices higher for your services or it's going to Starbucks and asking to get your coffee for free. I mean, there's so many ways that you can start to test the waters in this and demonstrate to yourself that it's safe to receive and also see that it is an act of love for you and the giver as well.
That's beautiful. That is the one thing as I raised my kids, I was a single mom. There was this one other single mom, and I tried to help her one time because she was going to a conference and I knew that everything had been comped for her, but I knew they were going to stop for coffee or they were going to have lunch. And even though everything was comped, she wouldn't have the money. She would be like, I'm going to order a side salad. So I had saved up some money and I gave it to her. And when I gave it to her and she looked in the envelope, she was so furious. She threw it at me and she said, "You can't afford this." And I thought it would have blessed my heart so much if she could have received that. And I didn't do it out of duty. I did it out of love. I wanted her to be able to have a coffee and a lunch at this amazing event and not feel like I'm the one that can't order food. It's so important to receive because then it gives the giver, unless there's strings attached. I love that you said that. but it gives them the feeling of being blessed. Okay, something I want to talk about that you said, we don't wake up and say, I don't feel worthy. Because a lot of these programs now, they're using all the keywords, but they're not the keywords that really resonate with us because we don't know that we don't feel worthy. We just know we want to give and we give too much and we don't receive, but we don't understand. I don't understand it. And so I remember so many times I would try to get on board with these things, but I wasn't resonating with the language they were using because I didn't get it yet. I needed to come in on a level I understood and then be told, oh, you don't feel worthy.
It's a really sensitive, hard thing for people to look at. So I work around it. I like to categorize like all of the things that like limit us from having our best lives. They fall into three categories, and it tends to be the fear of the unknown, like just this the fears of the unknown, the risk. Like what are people going to think? Like how am I going to pull this off? Blah blah blah. Like those ones are pretty like easy to relate with and connect to because you know what the little scarcity or the little like squirrels in your head are running around mulling over. But the second one is scarcity belief. So not believing that there's enough to go around, not believing that there's enough time, there's enough money, there's enough demand, that kind of thing. And the third is the worthiness stuff. You can tell when the scarcity beliefs or the fears of the unknown come up. The worthiness stuff is a little more nuanced. Instead of trying to help people see how unworthy they really feel, instead I approach it as what can we do to help you feel more worthy? And one of my favorite, it's such a lighthearted thing, is to get clear on your values, like the things that light you up, like on a small scale, like I love glamour and beauty. And so on a daily basis, I put my makeup on even if I'm not going to see anyone because it lights me up. Another one of my values is creativity. So that checks that box too. When you start to nourish yourself by honoring your values, you start to level up a little bit energetically. You start to feel more aligned and lit up. And from that space, you can tap into a new level of worthiness because you are starting to practice like self-care, self-love, and treating yourself to your truth, your values, your light. And so that's a really lighthearted approach to solving that problem. And then you can start to pair that with saying no to the stuff that isn't aligned with your vision, with your truth, with your light. And eventually, those things, if you can stay disciplined and really start to say no to these things, this compounds and this helps improve your sense of worthiness. And you don't even really, I think once you start to see the light and start to like level up a little bit energetically, then you are more willing to look under the hood and admit to yourself, oh, wow, I've really been sabotaging a lot, or oh, I really am the only thing that's holding me back. Like it really is just me. And until people can like get to there, it's really hard. And that is one of the challenges of working with women who are in their 50s and 60s is like they are very set in their ways on the other hand. And I'm just crazy enough to love a good challenge. So I have so much compassion. It's really what it is. Like I don't want to see any women struggling and suffering. But I feel like once you get to that point in your life, that's when you're willing to say enough's enough. And I will run into people from time to time who I have to just turn away because they're just not willing to get real with themselves. And I hope and pray that they're able to, life will help nudge them enough to where they do find that willingness in a gentle way, not a painful way.
Let's get to your interruption.
I thought that it was hitting a rock bottom in like 2018. I didn't have a job despite having a master's degree and a real estate license. Like I could not find a job and it was like really harming my sense of self-worth. And that's when I said, okay, enough's enough. I'm gonna get into this spirituality and personal development stuff. That was a good start. And from then I have been obsessed with it, reading and applying whatever techniques, signing up for programs, collecting data and tools to apply in my own life. Well, I ended up manifesting a dream career that I thought was a dream career, and I helped grow someone's real estate business from 6 or 7 to 30. I was the whole operations. I was the one mentoring people, doing the marketing. The owner of the company, he would just add on more people and not get more support. And I'm like, this is so unsustainable. But I didn't feel worthy of making money. Like and he resented paying me too. So we're like mirroring back to each other this like weird resent, like money hang up, scarcity stuff. It just kept me in this loop of overperforming, overgiving until I ended up once again 3 years in, like I was so out of integrity, out of alignment, and I had a miscarriage and I was having like panic attacks and just I was a shell of a human being. I thought that that was the catalyst. I ended up saying enough's enough. I'm going to trust that I'm going to start to apply and practice what I preach. So I went and sought out some magnetic mirrors. These are the people that we look to that reflect back qualities or accomplishments that we want to achieve ourselves. And one of my magnetic mirrors that I reached out to just pick his brain about what he would do if he was in my situation, total plot twist, total manifestation. He says, "Why don't you just open up a real estate firm with me?" And I'm like, what? This man that I admire, that's this like hashtag life goals vibes, like he wants to partner with me. Holy cow. A couple months, like I have a team of 7 or 8 people immediately. Like I made enough money in the first few months of business to cover all of my expenses for at least a year. I'm like, wow, I really know what I'm doing in this manifesting realm. I thought that was the big break. Well, I start getting hit with unexpected expense after unexpected expense. And that year worth of income like went away real fast. I mean, tens of thousands. I think it was like 60 or 70,000 of unexpected expenses. I was nuts. It was insane. So I have that in my first year of self-employment. And then phase 2 started to kick in, which was people just started dying. I lost over 20 close family members, friends, loved ones in like a 2.5 year period. So not only am I getting these financial challenges, but I'm getting hit with like profound grief and loss and having to make these decisions. Am I just going to table everything in my business to go drive 3.5 hours to help be there for my grandparents, the people I love most in the whole world? I kept doing what was right in my heart and I kept being okay and I kept manifesting. I've faced death so many times. I've seen some of the most unbelievable circumstances and the people that I love most in the world going through this stuff. That was the true breakdown. But to be honest, like I've never felt more like divinely held. I've never felt more aligned with my purpose and my truth because I got to see a version of Morgan I had never met before. I was strong and powerful in a way that was not out of integrity for the first time in my life. That like broke me open in a way where I was just in full surrender. Like every minute to minute, I'm asking for like divine guidance for the next right thing to do. And I kept getting some kind of feedback that like carried me through. And after that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have to go all in on Morgan Manifest. So once again, manifestation, my business, my real estate company and business brokerage, it is an amazing team of people who held me through this experience because I invested in them, but also I strategically hired people who balance my strengths. So now there's 4 partners and I only do what I love in that business. And like this week, I maybe worked 2 hours. Like I've bought the time. I've built the confidence. I've followed the next right thing. I'm practicing what I preach. I'm manifesting clients. Like all of it's really coming together and Morgan manifests in such a beautiful way. And I can't not do it. Like it is, I've reached a new level of like light and activation that like it's just unbelievable. And I want to share this gift with as many people as I can, as many women who are ready to receive and claim the unshakable peace, that trust, that abundance that I've been able to tap into myself.
You said about your interruption that you found this strong, beautiful woman that you were, but you already were that. You already
Yes.
were that, but you found, and I think that is kind of a myth of like, oh, we're this mousy person and then we become strong. But really, it's being a strong woman and then finding the place that works. And the other thing that just really touched my heart, because I think this is really hard to understand, is you were doing your thing, you had all these interruptions, but you walked away. You didn't walk away, but you did what was on your heart. You took care of grandma and grandpa. You kept being provided for. That's the link I think that gets missed. I have seen that as a single mom. I've seen it in different areas of my life where I've had to put things down to be available. In the business world, it seemed wrong. In my heart, it was right. And yet there was provision
Hmm.
for that.
Oh my gosh. I don't know where to go from that except that really the reason that people want to learn about manifesting is because they want something, whether it's love or money or career or a house or whatever. Like they're like, I really want this thing and I don't know how to get it. I want to learn a new path. And for me, it really isn't about the stuff. You might learn how to manifest. You might have a couple wins like, oh, I've leveled up energetically. I'm going to attract better financial opportunities or better romantic opportunities. But in the grand scheme of things, like my life is a testament. Like you cannot put a dollar value on the unshakable peace that I have manifested. There is no dollar amount on that activation when I am so aligned with my purpose, so fully in trust that everything is gonna work out, that I don't have to be in the driver's seat. I don't have to let fear run the show because I know if I lose every material thing in my life, you can't take away the inner stuff that I've gained, and it's just going to come back again and again. That is what manifesting is about. And it's really hard to see for like I would have not comprehended that when I got into this stuff in 2018. Like I'm a very logical person. I used to pride myself in being so pragmatic and hence why I'm in commercial real estate. Like that's a men's industry. I was like, it's about numbers. Residential is it's too much about emotions. And so I was very disconnected from my heart and my truth for most of my life, and that's what got me into a few rock bottoms. And really, if it really comes down to like, what is your level of alignment with your truth? That is what the measure of your quality of life is. And for some reason I can go into detail about this, but the miracle is when you align with your truth, the opportunities come. So it's not just like you're giving yourself medicine by being true to yourself and saying no to what isn't aligned, but you by being more and more aligned, you become more magnetic and attract the abundance in the first place. But then you are the kind of person who's a vibrational match to abundance, and that is something that is so much more meaningful in the grand scheme of things.
I love that. And you had mentioned that you were like very non-woo-woo. And I hear people say this when they talk about manifesting, like they may be a really intense business person and they're like, I'm not woo-woo, but this works. So can you talk about that? It's because that's what I hear. People are always like, woo-woo, don't give up your day job. And it's like, oh, it's so not what it is.
Oh, bro. To me, manifesting is part like the subconscious reprogramming, and that is based in neuroscience. I mean, there's actual scientific data to back up some of the things like at the root of it, our subconscious mind holds our beliefs and determines 95% or more of our behaviors. Well, most of what programs your subconscious mind happens from 0 to age 8. So it's all this stuff, you're collecting all this information, and you don't have the ability to determine what's real or what's truth and what's not. You're getting programmed and imprinted by your environment, by the dynamics with your parents, by who teaches you at school, like all these things, what you see on TV, like all of this imprints in you these beliefs, and the whole function of our brain is to keep us safe from harm. So in adulthood, these beliefs manifest as it's not safe to be in relationship with people because you had parents that were emotionally unavailable. And so you just withdraw and you never have the beauty of like the depth of a real relationship. Or it can be something like you're modeled that it's not it's not okay for women to be the breadwinner in the family or to ask for more or be immodest or whatever. So that manifests in adulthood as you're not gonna ask for more or set the bar higher for yourself. That all, once again, is founded in science. And the other thing that's important to note is that when we see things with our eyes, whether it's our mind eye when we visualize or when we observe it with our actual eyes, that also reprograms subconscious beliefs. We literally see to believe what's possible. So when you're in your head visualizing the worst case scenarios, you are literally subconsciously programming your mind or validating those fears that keep you stuck and safe, or I'm sorry, stuck and safe in quotations. Whereas you can literally visualize a different reality, something better, and that's also going to imprint your subconscious beliefs to help you align with what you really want. When you see to believe it's safe and it's okay and it's acceptable to be a woman who stands in her power and says no and says yes to what's aligned, even if not everyone agrees with it, when you observe others doing that, it's going to make it a lot more natural and safe for you to do it too. So that's part of the manifesting stuff. But then when it starts to cross into the woo, I think the crossover really happens when you start to realize there's an element of faith that has to be exercised when you level up, when you do something new and scary, when you go through those fears of the unknown, blessing blockers that come up. Part of how you get comfortable doing that is you have to part do this subconscious reprogramming, but then there is this like need for faith and trust that it's all going to work out. And that generally starts with you building self-trust first, like keeping your commitments to yourself and starting to say no to what isn't aligned and to really have these big breakthroughs. They're never going to come from your own head, your own limited logic. Like we only know what we know and what we've been exposed to. And you can be the smartest person on the planet, but you don't have it all figured out. And there's only so many paths of possibilities that you can see. And once you start to get comfortable with the fact that I don't know it all. I don't need to know it all. Like, I'm just going to choose faith. I'm going to choose trust. That's when the bigger up levels come from because you have to walk through the fire of your fears and you have to surrender and trust divine guidance. Trust that this calling is here for a reason. And if I don't honor this, like that unfulfillment that I experience is not worth it anymore. This is what they call co-creating with God, the universe. And for those who are not into the woo, I feel you, I hear you, I can relate. But the thing is, I've done this enough times to know like this is real, and you'll start to see these miracles, these synchronicities, these signs that mirror back like, hey, I've got you. Like I see you. I have not had a day pass that I don't see 111 or 1111, sometimes multiple times right now because I'm in the middle of this huge leap of faith. Every time that I start to be like, oh my gosh, I'm insane, little miracles happen. I know that's just like a cliche, seeing the repeating patterns, but those are synchronicities. The universe, God speaks to us in little messages. It's up to us to get unblocked and start to open up and be aware of all of this stuff that's happening around us that's conspiring for our dreams to become a reality. And the only way that you're going to be able to have that experience is by starting to get comfortable with the discomfort and starting to choose faith. It's a choice. You get to choose it. And it's counterintuitive. It's not what the logical mind is telling us to do, but with practice and time, it will become natural. It won't become scary. There's a saying, new level, new devil. Every level, you're going to have a new opportunity to grow and learn. You're going to have a new plot twist that's going to be like a new interruption. Like every level that happens, that's just a new opportunity to reflect and grow and heal and be better. And you'll start to also notice that once you have gone through this process of jumping in faith, trusting divine guidance, following your truth and what lights you up, you start to realize, okay, I'm on this new level. Here's some new weird stuff coming up, and been here, done this, and it's just not quite as scary. And honestly, I've gotten to the point where I've done all the things, I've taken the leap of faith, and I'm just in that spot where I call it the divine divide, where it's like I'm not quite there yet, but I've also made a lot of progress, but the manifestation hasn't come through. When I start to get little tests happening, like right at the finish line, like I don't look at it as, oh no, God's punishing me, or oh, I need to go force something or get scared or worried. It's like, no, I see that the universe wants to know if I am really ready for what I'm calling in. And that's just another sign that I am divinely held because it's like, okay, let's check this. Let's see, is Morgan really ready to receive this new amazing thing? Right now, that for me is a retreat property 3.5 hours away from where I've been living and setting up my businesses. And I have been called to live by the ocean my whole life. So I'm about to take a risk, sell one of my biggest investment properties to make this dream a reality. And I've never owned a retreat property. I mean, it's very irrational if you write it out on paper, but I know I've done more with less. I've taken scary leaps of faith in the past and they've worked out. So why not? Why snooze on my daydream? And that's what manifesting looks like. It's not really that woo in the grand scheme of things. And you really could take your time crossing into the woo because it's gonna find you. Like, and it spirituality isn't woo. Like we have humanity has had to like find a way to believe in something greater than ourselves for the history of time. Like there's a reason for that. It's not because we need to make up some fairy tale to face the fact that we're all just going to die one day. If you align with that purpose, that calling, and you start to co-create with the universe, you are going to get signs that you're on the right path. You're going to get rewarded. You're going to get the synchronicities. So, I mean, what harm is it to just say, hey, I'm going to give this a chance?
That is so awesome. I remember when I was challenged, well, you're already manifesting all the other stuff, the not good stuff. Why not just turn it around? And I was like, oh my goodness, that was reality, that it's neuroscience, not woo.
Yes. I mean, when you think about it, it's like your wounded inner child is in the driver's seat. And that's what's responsible for the triggers that you have, where you're just like disproportionately set off by something. And talk about what a blessing blocker when you're in this triggered state where everything's like setting you off because of some wound that's been activated, you are not going to access that intuition. You're not going to access that divine guidance, that self-love, that bigger picture thinking, because that puts you right into this closed container of survival mode. Another thing about manifesting is getting to the root of your triggers and making friends with them and realizing, hey, this is just a sign of somewhere where I need to look within and do some healing. Just that alone will change your life and change your reality. But you're right, we are always manifesting. Do you want to be manifesting based on these wounds from your childhood or this programming that isn't really aligned with your truth? Or do you want to go ahead and choose something different?
So, something you said earlier on is when you were ready, when you needed help, you looked for a mirror. Someone here is looking for a mirror. They're looking for you to help them. How do they find you?
So you can find me at morganmanifests.com. And I'm also offering a free strategy session so that I can serve the world and at least give you something. So you can go to morganmanifests.com/free and book your free strategy session. Let's come with something that's holding you back or something that you want that you don't know how to get. And I will give you some tools that you can apply to break through.
So, Morgan, this has been so amazing. Before we go, what is it you really, really, really want us to know?
That you do not have to do it all or be it all to have it all. We have been taught, especially women, myself included, that you have to perform to be worthy. I have to perform to be worthy. I have to work harder. I have to be X, Y, and Z in order to get what I want. And that is just not the truth. It is so much more about you getting out of your own way and figuring out what it is that you truly want and choosing that over and over again until you get it. No burnout, no hustle required. Because if you can start to work towards wrapping your mind around that, when I was on my journey and starting forced to have to just surrender and slow down, that's when the most beautiful miracles that I've ever experienced came through.
I love that. Go get your free consultation with Morgan. Morgan, thank you.
Thank you, Laurie. This has been great.
If you love this podcast, here's a big ask. Will you share with your friends and family, subscribe, give us a review, and a 5-star rating so that others looking to reinvent their lives will be able to get the help they're looking for? Thank you in advance.
One of my favorite podcasts is Crime Analyst with Laura Richards. And she has an English accent. And she always says, "Hey, lovely." And I thought I would steal that from her today to say, "Hey, lovely, are you a heart-led entrepreneur with a powerful message, but no idea where to start with a podcast? Are you over 40, purpose-driven, and totally lit up by your mission, but secretly a little tech intimidated? Or maybe you've been asking, what mic do I need? Will anyone even listen? Can I really do this?" I see you. And let me tell you, you have not missed the boat. I created the 7-Day Podcast Pro just for you. It's a guided experience where we take your voice, your wisdom, and your mission and turn it into a professional, purpose-driven podcast in just 7 days. There's no guesswork, no overwhelm, and absolutely no tech confusion. I walk you through every single step from concept to launch with clarity, confidence, and support. You don't need to know how to edit. You don't need a fancy studio. You just need your message and the courage to share it. By the end, you'll have a podcast you're proud of, one that works for you and your business, shares your heart, and helps you reach the people who need you most. If you're ready to be heard, ready to lead, and ready to take your message global, 7-Day Podcast Pro is your launchpad. Let's get your voice out into the world where it belongs.